stock.
Yeah, you get to see this if you join us on Patreon.
Yeah, exactly. For $5 a month, get to watch Oliver configure settings. Oh, that music. From the immortal Calvin Volrath, the Calvinator himself, the old reel of 8. And that means it's time for another edition of Radio NaHuMCa. So if you're just joining us for the first time, or if you were with us last season during the low point of the pandemic, welcome to everybody. And we have a great midwinter NHMC, that's Northeast Heritage Music Camp, treat for you this afternoon to chase away the last of the winter snow and welcome in the spring, and look forward to another season of live music, including some really great communal experiences that one can only really have when camps and festivals are happening. And one of those is our own beloved Northeast Heritage Music Camp in Starksboro, Vermont in late June, and we'll be talking about that intermittently here. Would love to have you join us for the first time or again. But today we have special guests who are faculty at this year's Camp 2022, Camp NaHuMCa, as we like to call it. North of the border, we'll be hearing from Laura Risk, a first-time faculty at NHMC, and a very seasoned member of our esteemed faculty, Mr. Nicholas Williams, and I'm really looking forward to hearing these folks play some music for you. Down here on the American side of the border, we are in southern Vermont. We have Mr. Max Newman, who was with us last Labor Day for a short version of camp, and a fellow who grew up at camp and has somehow found himself in a position of ultimate responsibility. You don't even want to know all the hats that he wears, but they're considerable, and he does not get paid by the hat. This is Mr. Oliver Scanlon right over here. So I'm Pete Sutherland. Doug Feeney and I dreamed up the Radio NaHuMCa series last year, and it was carried ably by all of our amazing board of directors who worked very hard all year long to bring you the richness of camp every year in late June, and hurrah for the apparent receding of the pandemic that we can do such things again. So without further ado, I think we're going to head up to somewhere in the wilds of Quebec province and be joined by Mr. Nicholas Williams and Ms. Laura Risk. And there they are.
Hey, great to be here.
Just to prove to you that we are in the wilderness here. There's some fauna that we see. Oh, it's a muskox. Um, we're joining you from Waterville, Quebec. Just a hop, skip, and a jump uh, off north of the border. So looking forward to being able to come back down to Vermont this year, and really looking forward to bring my good friend and amazing musician Laura Risk down there.
My first time, I'm so excited.
Yeah, you're gonna love it.
I heard so many great things about this camp. Should we play some tunes?
Yeah, great idea.
All right, we'll talk later. We'll play now. Oh, Nick's already getting fans from, his fans are calling him
Oh my god.
on the computer.
So sorry.
Tell them you're,
That won't happen again.
That's the Nicholas Williams fan club. We'll put the number up on the screen in a few minutes. You can call. All right, we're gonna play a few tunes from Douglastown, Quebec, up on the Gaspé Peninsula. This is Eva's tune, Roland White's, and Charlie Droughty's.
Take it away.
There you go. Thank you. Oh, the silent applause.
The silent, I know.
I love it. Thanks, everybody. It's really nice to. It's nice to see you all on Zoom, and I'm really looking forward to, I hope, seeing a lot of you in person in June. It will be my first fiddle camp in 2.5 years.
Whoa.
Have you done any camps in person?
I
should say I've done plenty of Zoom camps, but my first.
Yeah.
Have you done it?
No, I guess I've done kind of like I'm maybe not allowed to say publicly that there were actually people there, but that's okay.
Okay.
Yes, my
first legit. We're gonna give you a song.
Yeah. I mean, maybe just before we do this, I can let you know that those tunes, that set was Douglas mentioned. Laura mentioned they were from Douglastown, which is a small town on the Gaspé Peninsula. It has a really kind of rich old fiddling tradition, and Laura was part of this really great project that collected tons of these tunes from that community. So if you come to camp this summer, you might learn, I don't know, maybe I'm overstepping my bounds, but you'll probably learn a couple tunes from Douglastown, and it's a really, it's just a really unique flavor and style of tune there. So that's something you could look forward to. We'll do a song. It's a great song called Jamie Rayburn that I learned years and years ago when I was living in Toronto, and it's just stuck in my ear ever since, and I love playing this with Laura. Well, my name is Jamie Rayburn, from Glasgow town I came. The place of habitation I'm forced to leave in shame. The place of habitation I'm forced to gang away, far from the bonny hills and dales of Caledonia. It was early in the morning, before the break of day, working while the turnkey, one to us didn't say, arise, ye convicts, arise, ye one and all. Today's the day that you're to stray from Caledonia. So we all arose, put on our clothes, our hearts were filled with grief. And those our fill on board the coach could grant us no relief. Our family broken hearted to see us gang along, far from the bonny hills and dales of Caledonia. It's farewell to you, me mother, I'm vexed for what I've done. I hope that none outcast on you, or for the race I run. I pray the Lord protecteth you, while I'm going along, far from the bonny hills and dales of Caledonia. And it's farewell to you, me father, you are the best of men. And likewise my own sweet if ever we're to meet again, we'll surely be above, where hallelujahs will be sung for He who reigns in love. No earthly judge will judge us there, but He who rules in love, far from the bonny hills and dales of Caledonia.
Not sure.
Thank you.
That was lovely. Thank you so much, Laura and Nick.
We get to give you the token applause.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Thanks so
We'll
much.
applaud all the harder here. We're going to have more music from these folks a little later in the second half, which is great. But we thought we'd make it just a little bit different experience this afternoon, which I think suits everybody's temperaments, and have some music, but also have some conversation and kind of dig into the topic of being a teacher in a variety of settings. Probably some of these folks are regular private music teachers, as well as doing the odd camp or workshop at a festival or so forth. And so kind of thought about a few things that people might be interested in illuminating on that topic, of many topics that we might talk about this afternoon. And one of them is there has been sort of an increasing trend towards co-teaching happening at our camp the past couple of years that camp has happened. And that presents just kind of a unique opportunity for collaboration that I think people have been enjoying. Both teachers have been enjoying and students have been enjoying as well the fruits of that collaboration. And so I wanted to maybe start with Nick, who's kind of the senior member of the faculty here in this particular grouping. He's been with us many years, and kind of pick your brain a little bit, sir, about what you've experienced in co-teaching at NaHuMCa and perhaps other camps too, and what some of the rewards and challenges are in participating in that willingly. So over to you.
Yeah, great. It's a great question, and I think what comes to mind for me is actually, is Tracy Loyson here? No, I'm just looking on the screen. It's funny. I saw her last night. She was on Zoom as well. But Laura and I did a concert at her place, just outside of Montpelier, and I remember this one conversation that we had. Like, I think she was asking, like, she loved the concert, and there were some of these we had some great musical moments, and she said, like, what does it feel like to be,
yeah. I remember that
does that, like,
Yeah.
because for me it seems like you guys are just so like in the zone and having this amazing experience, but does that ever just get old, when you're when you do it a lot, if you're a professional musician or just a musician who plays a lot? And we got into this conversation about what it feels like to really be in that zone, and how sometimes when you're a performer, you can just kind of go through the motions, and there are things that you could be like just thinking about, your shopping list or whatever, and still be managing to convey someone might have a great experience listening to your music while you're thinking about your shopping. Like, I think in a sense there's one part of music that's contained in the repertoire, the tune, or the memories it might trigger in someone else. But there's another part that is like all about really being in the moment. And what we got to talking about while we were at Tracy's was this, what Laura and I both enjoy is like kind of this moment where you're pushing yourself where you might have a train wreck, like you're taking some risks musically, and that's
No
where
pun
it's,
intended there. That's good. That's it.
yeah, well, that's where it's most exciting, and what's nice playing in a duo format is that there's that freedom to take risks, and you can it's easy to get back on track if you're a two-person train that's derailed rather than a six. But
Can I
for
jump in here?
well,
Or
yeah,
go
yeah, yeah,
ahead.
yeah.
No,
Well, I was
go
just
ahead.
gonna say that for me, that's a little bit about what teaching, co-teaching does, is that it kind of destabilizes you a little bit. Like for me, my first reaction, if I'm being told, okay, you're gonna teach this slot with this other person, and my first reaction is like, oh, well, I can't say all these stock things that or do these things that I know work in these other workshops that I've done many times before. But I think what that does is that it forces me as a teacher to be there and reacting and really present in the moment. And I think that's really, really valuable. What were you going to say?
I was actually going to say just that. So we
Oh.
were there. We were
Oh my
on the-
God.
on the. I was going to say that's how teaching with other people is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
You said it. You said it.
Yeah.
I have nothing to add.
I'm sure you have lots to add. But I think it's a great risk, and I love what the direction that it seems like NaHuMCa is taking, where to get out of this kind of easy workshop themes, where it's like, oh, okay, one more one more Quebecois tune on the accordion, let's learn it. There's some value in that, but like I think co-teaching that's the main value, is that it forces you to like really be there and be a little bit off balance, which is fun.
Excellent. I love that you used the word destabilized. It's a slightly provocative word, and I'm all in with that. It's perfect, and I'd relate as well. Thank you for validating the whole programming direction. Not really the ultimate purpose of the question, but it really helps.
I know what I'm pushing for, Pete. Yeah.
Max Newman down here. You have anything to add? Do you have some experiences along these lines?
Well, I'll say that teaching this past summer was really a deep dive into that experience for me, and it was just with such a strong staff, all people that had a lot to share and were people that I would want to learn from. And I love being put in that position of also being in a learning position, which I feel like opens up a whole other mindset. And being in that mindset, I feel like a much better teacher. And I just loved the frisson and the excitement of communicating there and sharing that with people in the class. It felt like a little bit, and it makes for the possibility of having a collaborative communication in a conversation a little bit easier, to have somebody to do that with and to keep you on your toes, and to I feel like that invites everybody to participate a lot more too. Just when there already is a conversation happening, when you're in the class, you can feel like you can be part of it too, which it was so fabulous being a part of it last year. Just have a million moments where I just loved it. So I'm a big fan.
That's great. I wonder if I could pick up on this thread. Maybe I'll direct this to you, Laura. Is how open are you, and how much do you kind of like enjoy or welcome a student kind of introducing some aspect of a topic in a workshop or a class that you were not expecting to necessarily have the train go on that track? I know it can be, as a past teacher especially, it can be sort of disturbing because you've got your game plan, and it can also be an amazing challenge if you want it. So.
I usually write out my lesson plans to the minute, and then I just stick to those, Pete. No, no.
And what grade do you teach again?
No, no, yeah, of course, I love that.
I think you should have let him sit with that for a little bit longer, Laura. That would have been great.
Yeah, no, I have a, I can continue on the facetious front if you want, but no, I think when I teach a class, I've been teaching a long time. Sometimes I think I'm like, wow, I've been teaching fiddle for a long time in different contexts, and private and group and camps and big groups and small groups, and I think one thing that helps me avoid the shopping list approach, which of sort of going in and doing it just like I think I could teach in my sleep almost, just because I've done it so much. Like we all have things like that, but I don't really enjoy being in that state. So sometimes if it's like the last day of camp and I haven't really gotten any sleep, I might be teaching in my sleep, but I try to avoid that sense of just going through the motions. And in some ways I think that sense that Nick was talking about of like, I always think of it as like when you're playing music with someone, you're sort of walking along the edge of the cliff together, or the tightrope, or whatever your imagery is, and you're keeping your balance and you're hoping you're not going to fall off, and it's like there's that excitement because you don't know quite how it's going to go, and you're just sort of working it out, and I feel that like it's totally true when you're co-teaching, but it's also true, I think, in the interaction between the students and the teacher, and that's something I really love. So, and honestly, that's something that's been really hard for me with Zoom teaching, is because it doesn't happen in the same way. So it happens to some extent in the chat, and sometimes people raise their hand, but you don't have that sense like you're in the room or you're in the field or wherever it is you're teaching, and I put out an idea and I can feel something come back from the students, and then someone's like, hey, but what about this? And we go off in some other direction. So I love that. I love that kind of interaction. And but I think just to be totally honest, I should also say that as a teacher, I feel like part of my job is to find some balance. So every now and like most of the time those questions are great and it goes off somewhere, and then every now and then I am like, okay, this is taking us way off from where we should go. And then I think part of what I need to do is pull it back in and say, and sometimes it's to say, that's really great, but we're going to do that tomorrow, or that's really great, but let's talk about it after the actual class, or yeah, whatever it is, like to sort of allow space to go in new directions based on student interests and questions, and but then also to have a sense of where the class is going as a whole, and to hopefully get there.
Great. I love all of that. And those were some of the kind of the yin and yang that I was thinking of as well, broaching that topic there. So I've been there. Maybe switching gears just a little bit here. I'm sort of just back to Nick, and I'm sure you've been teaching a long time as well, not just for us, but all over the place. If you had less time than you wanted for a class, less days, less time in any given slot for whatever reason, do you have kind of something in the back of your mind that you definitely want to cover as not necessarily repertoire or material or anything, but just principles of musicianship or something broader like that? Does that make sense to you? And that you kind of like, you're trying to keep in focus so that you make sure you get there when all else fails time-wise.
Do you mean for any given class that I might be teaching?
Yeah. Or you can just pick one. You can pick one, and yeah.
Like what's the most important thing for me to like? What's
that would? Yeah, that's kind of
yeah.
Exactly.
It's interesting. It's like, when Laura was talking about the last, the last question you asked her, what this image came to me that the act of teaching and learning, like, sure, there's this kind of goal that, okay, the students want to do this thing and get better, and there's a purpose for being there. But I kind of feel like it's like the classes are an end unto itself. Like, that dynamic of what's going on in a class between the teacher and the students, and between the students laterally, and give and take. It's a two-way street between whoever's teaching and whoever's learning. But I feel like it's kind of like a dance in and of itself, that the exchange it's like this convenient framing of a way that we can interact, like just like a dance is. Okay, here are the moves you need to know, here's your position, and then this great connection and communication happens on the dance floor. And I feel like it's or in a jam, the same thing, music. And I feel like these classes that we do at camp, it's kind of a really special way just to interact. And sure, there's some structure around it where, okay, I'm the teacher, you're the students, or maybe I'm a student and you're the teacher. But the most important thing for me, what I prioritize, I think, is that sense that there is something flowing back and forth. It doesn't really matter what the given topic is. There's so many, it's really unlimited, I find, what you can choose to focus on with music, because it's music is all about being human together, like how could that possibly,
Beautiful.
how can you run out of things to explore there? So for me, sure, everyone has things that, and for me, it's funny because I in some of these classes that I've done that year, like, for many years, my headspace is always different each year. So there's always something I'm more excited about at the moment, and it ends up veering in that way. Or it could be something that veers into what a student is excited for. So I think that's really the priority for me, is to make sure that there is just something that is being passed around and communicated and shared.
Great stuff. I love that. It's all being human together. That ought to be written on the wall of the dining hall.
Particularly with traditional music, and having it's such a tradition of community in really playing with other people, and it's all really about that. That's a great core principle to focus on. Yeah. I think a lot of other possible core things that one might focus on in a workshop, like just rhythm, playing good rhythm regardless, can be worked in within any sort of context. So whether you're coming back to it directly, it's still in the undertones of whatever workshop you're doing.
Great, thanks.
Yeah, rhythm.
Yeah,
I'm there with you.
go with that. Riff on that, Max.
All right, I'll riff away. Well, this isn't exactly rhythm, but something that I think is a little bit of a choice. Be curious how you all feel about this. Is to what extent is your teaching, and maybe in the context of workshop, to what extent is that going to be fun or not? And I tend to err on the side of fun. But I actually don't think that that's the only way that something has to be. Sometimes it can be a little bit more eating your vegetables and looking for, okay, I know that this is going to be really hard, and you're going to doubt the fact that I'm even teaching you something that you want to be a part of, but hang with me. And by the end of it, you'll feel a sense of accomplishment. And I tend to, I think it's not to the exclusion of that, but I certainly tend to think a lot about that I enjoy playing music, and it's that is really fun. And I don't want to practice playing music. I don't want to practice, just as you wouldn't want to practice a mistake, practicing playing music without having fun feels like practicing the wrong thing. And to try to find the fun in whatever it is that you are doing, even if it is a little challenging. I tend to maybe don a little bit more of an entertainer hat, I guess, in the sense of like I want the people who are coming into this workshop to be relaxed and like find that, because it can be so hard to be relaxed when you're learning something, but to practice that and do yoga in our classes or whatever it is. We've done that. So
I think the importance of making it fun to have folks relax is an interesting thing to focus on, partially because relaxed, happy people are going to learn better to begin with.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
So whatever it is that you're focusing on
Right.
is going to be a little easier if you're not like,
Well, to put it another way, I always think about empowerment. I don't know about you other teachers here. I feel like that's the number one goal of all teachers, is empowering students. And one way to feel empowered is to feel relaxed and feel that sense of fun and really own it. A lot of students probably are nervous, and they don't necessarily feel like they really own their own knowledge of how much fun they know they want to have and how the music makes them feel, when they hear it, and making that leap into, I can do that too. Maybe I can do that too. Oh, I'm really going to try to do that too. And maybe this workshop will be the key, will be the door into that. And I think being an entertainer is definitely, a tool in your toolkit to play. Yeah.
Well, and another subtext in this is sort of, this is making me think of, Pete, is in all of the questions you've been asking, is exactly like, what is the balance between coming in with a vision and responding to the moment, which is true for performance as well. I feel like in longer teaching sessions, something that I've done, like just to get really nitty gritty and technical here, is I think it is important to have a little bit of a vision coming into whatever it is that you're teaching, so that people know why they're there. But I've often done a little survey in like a halfway point that says something along the lines of like, what were you hoping to get out of this class? What has been going really well? What could go a little bit better? And then what were you hoping to get out of this class that you haven't gotten yet? And usually I preface that by also saying, like, then I can inevitably disappoint you, whatever you tell me. But I found that really, really a helpful question, that last one in particular. Like, what is it you were hoping to get out of this class that you haven't gotten out yet, after people are maybe halfway through or a third of the way into it? So then I can at least have a sense of what that is and choose to respond to it or not.
Oh man, that's great. Yeah, I'm halfway through a weekly series of fiddle classes right now, and I have that written down in front of me. It's like, what did I miss?
Yes.
What did you want to know that I actually didn't remember to talk about? I think my time for more music.
Oh, yeah.
And we'll have more chat and get to some other meaty topics here. This is really great.
Was sorry, I wanted to make sure. It looked like Nick wanted to add something.
Oh yeah, please.
I was just going to add,
empower yourself right now.
Well, I like that, Max, when you're talking about liking to have, to have a plan and know where you're going, and then that option, to veer and change course. It makes me think about another, like an image of being a dance musician, and like I remember really being aware when I was playing for a lot of contra dances of these phases of the evening. And it's like there's the first phase where it's like, okay, you've got to just like kind of crank up the machine and get people going and put the energy out there. And then if things are going all right, it's like, or even like within the context of one dance, like say you play like the first 4 times through the tune, it's like, okay, this is where we're going, this is the kind of vibe. And then if things are going well, like halfway through, it's like, wow, we could stop playing and the dancers are just gonna keep going, or you can like, it's no longer like the machine is moving along and all the dancers are part of the band. So if you stop playing, it's just one component of the ensemble that drops out, but the momentum is there. And I feel like it can be like that when you're teaching too. It's like, okay, you've got to arrive knowing what tune you're going to play and what, you know, where you want to go. But once the momentum of that class is going on, then, like, it's often happened to me halfway through camp, where like maybe on the third lesson I'll be there and I'll have no idea what I want to do that day, but I'm not worried at all, because I know that there are these like topics and things that we've started to explore that are just like have engaged people, and that it's going on its own steam. So I think that's kind of a I don't know. For me, that's a nice image of how preparation, you know, can head you in the right direction, but then it's more of a collaboration with everyone involved. And,
Oh man, I'm gonna steal that dance analogy, Nick. That's so good.
all right.
So good.
Yeah, cruise control happening now.
Yeah.
Thanks, Nick. Okay, we're gonna let these guys play some music if that's okay with everybody. Just put in the chat if you
Yes.
like that or you don't like
We'll
that.
put out the
Okay.
Google poll.
Yeah. All right.
Great.
I have the best seat in the house right now.
Yeah,
I have to just say.
Pete was very insistent that he be in stereo. So
Right.
you know, we're going to be on either side, and sort of in the spirit of camp. This is so great. I can show up and just play some music with just a little bit of talking and jump into a little spontaneity and play music that we love. So I'm grabbing Oliver here to play a couple of New England tunes. All right. Let's go together. There we go.
All right.
Highly arranged.
Sorry?
Highly arranged.
Hi, super.
Okay.
Yeah, in depth.
How's your elbow?
We're good. We're
All
good.
right, you're good. All
You
right.
gonna be good with surround sound?
It's awesome.
Ah.
Even before you play.
Wait.
Yeah.
The crowd goes wild.
Oh yeah.
Got a few chords there.
A couple. Trying to get them all out so everyone
Yeah.
who wants to learn one. When camp comes up, you just tell me which one it is.
Which
you
one of
want
those?
to
Was in that Quindara
Select
pipe the second time through?
Exactly.
Wow.
I remember I watched that video on YouTube, and
Yeah.
1 minute and 17 seconds into that. That was a good one.
There we go.
I've done that. First. So that was Petronella and Lady Walpole's, and then Quindaro. And something that I'm going to put myself out there, even though it's on YouTube and it'll be cataloged forever. But there's an interesting story that I'm going to get half of it right, and then you're just going to look it up on Wikipedia and find out what the real half is, because it is on Wikipedia. But Quindaro is the name of a town that was, I think, we'll just say Ohio for now, and then you're going to look it up. But that tune is named in relation to this town. It must be. And it was a town that was sort of a abolitionist experiment that I think sort of trying to be equal parts Native American, equal parts freed slaves, and equal parts Europeans. So anyway, it's a little kind of interesting thing to read a little bit about. And this Randy Miller was the one who turned me on to even thinking about that. But I've often wondered, why is this tune called Quindaro? And there's a little bit more that I know, and way more that you will all know. You already know it. You've already been looking at it. Oh my goodness. So type in the chat all the things that I should have said.
We're here for you.
Thank you.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah. Right.
In the earlier age, before the internet, I just could have spouted my mouth off and told a good tale.
That's
and everyone
right.
would have just believed it.
And it would have
right.
been true.
Yeah. So I was thinking of on the drive up of doing a song, and we're gonna do this song that I was talking with Pete a little bit, sort of about the history of it, and Pete described it as a song that it's a folk song. As soon as you hear it, you want to cover it, and that seems very true. Certainly happened to me. I think it's happened to other people too. It's called "Her Bright Smile Haunts Me Still," and it was collected in 1951 by was it the Warner?
Frank and Ann Warner.
Frank
Yep.
and Ann Warner, from some sisters. I did write this down even to memorize, but Martha Etheridge and Eliezer Tillett. But I think it came maybe to Tim Erickson up here in Vermont, and I learned it from the playing of Eric Merrill. It's a fun song. It is that song that you just say, I want to cover this as soon as you hear it and get stuck. So we'll do it. Been a year since last we met. We may never meet again, though I struggle to forget. The struggle was in vain, for her voice comes on the breeze, and her spirit comes at will in the midnight on the seas. Her bright smile haunts me still in the midnight on the like a giant in his wrath. Every danger I have known that a reckless life can feel, though her presence is now flown, her bright smile haunts me still, though her presence is now flown, her bright smile haunts me still. At the first sweet dawn of light, as I gaze upon the deep, her form still greets my sight, while the stars their vigils keep. As I close my aching eyes, sweet dreams my memory fill, and from sleep when I arise, her bright smile haunts me still, and from sleep when I arise, her bright smile haunts me still. Wow.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Whew. All right, now everyone out there is going to cover it too. That's great.
I think Nick and Alex Keeler actually already did.
Exactly. Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Great song.
I can hear Alex singing it. Am I right? Did you guys do it? Yes.
We just layer them all on top of each other.
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect.
Like a good cranky at camp, maybe.
Exactly. Oh my god.
Oh my God, that'd be great.
Oh my god.
All right. Let's see.
Great idea.
So
Gonna have to follow up with that though.
Yeah, right.
do one more. And I was thinking about a couple of things in the context of playing here for camp and doing this concert. We have had the pandemic going on and all of the introspection that has brought on, and then thinking about our connection to other people and teaching. So I'm going to play on the mandolin here a tune that I identify with, like sitting around as a 14-year-old, right around when I think I met Pete, and
Exactly then.
up when I was growing up in Fairbanks, Alaska, and Pete came up, and this is probably right around the same time I was plucking away at this tune, which all I remember about it right now is that it was on a Nordic Roots sampler CD, and I don't remember whose it was, but it's something kind of Scandinavian and Nordic or something. But and I clearly I haven't gone back and listened to it, but just this last couple of days I was thinking about this tune, and we'll just see what happens with it. But I certainly think of it as we all have those experiences where some tune kind of catches you and you're just plucking away, and or fiddling away, whatever it is, and just trying to get a melody in as much as you can with whatever skills you have at the time. So this is a little bit of a look at 14-year-old Max, maybe. And then I want to follow that up with a tune called the Clavel Fancy, which I learned from the playing of David Surratt, who I'm missing a lot these days, as I know a lot of us are. I was taking some lessons over the pandemic with David, and I didn't know exactly what I wanted to learn, but I just said, let's just keep meeting and just figuring out, what it is. You just keep playing. And it was maybe into lesson 4 or 5. I said, stop. It was something totally different. And there was just this one way. I said, show me what you were doing there, David. A particular way to go, diddle-a-dick. And I was like, I really like that way of getting the diddle-a-dick. And so I had him break it down for me. And much to the delight of everyone around me for the next 6 months, I was just finding out all the different ways I could go diddle-a-dick on the guitar. I was like, diddle-a-dick, diddle-dook, diddle-a-dick, dick. And I just, it's one of those little tiny moments of, I didn't know that's what I wanted to know, but that is what I wanted to know. So really great.
We've all had those.
Yeah, I'm really grateful to David for many, many things, but one of the things more recently was that, and it's definitely the kind of thing that I think about in his playing is that kind of thing. So I know he's been a big presence at camp, and we're really definitely missing him a lot. So I'm going to play this tune that I love playing after that, and I think that Oliver's going to join me on that. But first, 14-year-old Max.
Doesn't get any better than this.
Yeah.
We have Max Newman and Oliver Scanlon rocking out on the. Boy, if you don't think you have enough treble in frequencies in your life, you need to just call these two guys, and you'll have plenty.
Whenever you need,
You'll have plenty.
you know.
Trouble and trouble.
Tune title is in the comments.
Yeah.
Trouble.
Double treble.
Oh, good. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
I
Thank
think,
you.
Yeah.
1998, the 1998 collection. That was the one. Yeah, on the.
Oh, there we go.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Save that chat.
Somebody's hot on the trail of the old Wikipedia.
Right.
We're going to take just a few minutes to give the cast a chance to stretch and maybe people that are on Zoom with us to say hello to us or each other, or hold your cat up to the screen, or one of those kind of things that people do on Zoom. And then don't go away. We have more music and conversation with Nicholas Williams and Laura Risk and Max Newman and Oliver
A
Scanlon.
break boarding announcement as well, that if anything you say will be live streamed to Facebook and YouTube forever.
Forever. That's right.
So
'Cause-
you should be aware of
Yeah, Abe Lincoln giving the Gettysburg Address, that's on YouTube. Pretty amazing.
And if thanks so much for joining us this afternoon, this Sunday afternoon, and if you feel inspired, we hope you feel inspired to help us support our musicians and faculty here by donating a little money to help support them.
And how do
In the
people do that?
links in the description and the comments. Thanks to our background staff.
That's right.
Rose Jackson back there on the computer.
Yep.
So thanks again. Thanks for being with us.
Yeah.
Little break.
Little break.
Pull up.
Of course, I see it's my dad that posted the tune.
Gary's in there. He's unstoppable.
Yeah. Thanks.
Thanks, Gary.
Well, I actually pulled out the CD, so the very CD. So here you go.
That's where it is. Oh, it's back in Fairbanks.
It's in Fairbanks, yeah.
No wonder you couldn't find it.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Yeah, you gave me a challenge, Max. Thank you.
My pleasure. Yeah. Dr. Toonhound himself.
Yeah.
Someone move the back 5 minutes.
Yeah, we'll take 5. As they say.
Or 11.
Yeah. I know we're like behind schedule, but it's fun.
That's all right.
We're Okay, thanks for sticking around, or for those of us just arriving on the scene here. This is the midwinter event hosted by your friends, some of whom are on camera right now, and once and future faculty at Camp NaHuMCa, Northeast Heritage Music Camp, which is happening for reals again this coming June in Starksboro, Vermont, at Camp Common Ground, which has been its home for the whole second half of the life of this camp, which started way back when these guys were lads. He was there. He was not there, but
In spirit.
Yes, right, in league.
They're in spirit for many years, most of the life of the camp.
Yeah. So way back, like 16, 17 years ago, or something like that, and we're just so excited to have it be back online. I'm particularly excited as a longtime faculty and board member of this camp, and I seem to have been able to escape from all of that. And the door marked exit, which I thought actually was an exit, turned out to lead to a room which is titled Friends of Northeast Heritage Music Camp. Little did I know. It's kind of like a Gary Larson cartoon in reverse or something. But anyway, I'm really happy to be involved. And I'm also excited to be going to camp this year as a camper. Talk about goals you didn't know you had.
Yeah.
That was apparently was a thing.
It's beautiful.
So we're before we have some more music from our friends north of the border right now, Nicholas Williams, longtime faculty, and new faculty Laura Risk. We're gonna engage these brilliant teaching minds in a little more chat about the rewards and potentially challenges that that teachers have in undertaking this great work of bringing this precious music and the world of that music and the players of that music down through the years into the lives and hearts and fingers of folks that go to these camps and are really striving to know as much as they can. Short of going on Wikipedia, actually.
There are other venues.
There's apparently there's other ways to learn. So I actually wanted to throw out the question of what are some of the hardest things that you have experienced having to teach or formulate maybe make a format for getting across in a workshop setting, or perhaps in a private setting. And maybe Laura, do you want to go with that? Because as you said, you've been teaching a long time.
Yeah, thanks. I was hoping you were going to say Laura.
Yeah, give me the easy question. The hardest things, honestly, I think, the side of, how am I going to get across this repertoire, this challenging repertoire, or this bowing, or this ornamentation, that sometimes is challenging, but also, can be really enjoyable as a teacher to just try to think about, how do I communicate this? How do I break it down so it makes sense? What do we need to do? Sing it or hum it or dance it or whatever it is. I think the most challenging moments for me have been having a student, having students. It's not just one, but students who are coming to the violin or to the fiddle as adults, having had really difficult experiences with music when they were younger, and just sort of trying to get back into, we were talking earlier about the fun and the enjoyment of music, and but trying to find that, and fiddle class can be really fun and exciting, and it can also be hard sometimes. I think music takes us to a place that it allows us to connect with our emotions in a really powerful way, and sometimes for students that can be hard. And so I'm not going to tell you what I think it's when that comes up. Sometimes it comes up for students, then sometimes music is the way through that, and working through the music and playing but it's hard and it takes time. But that can also feel really pretty amazing. When I've had students who there's a lot going on for them when they pick up the violin, and then over time to see that grow and to see them grow into feeling like musicians, and being able to play with other people and kind of moving to having music in a new way in their lives. That'd be great.
That's great. Thanks for highlighting the emotion piece, because again, as a teacher, I totally resonate with that. They don't even have to say anything, right? Sometimes it's just written in their face and body posture and all of that. Nick, I'd be interested to kind of continue that topic, and you're not a known fiddler, although I'm sure you play, because you play everything else. So the physical piece of the violin, which all of us fiddlers would probably agree on some level, this can be a real challenge to even seasoned players once you're also concentrating on music. But Nick, you're teaching singing, which I think probably is a good analogy for the emotion piece. Sometimes, yeah.
I mean, I think, yeah. I think I wasn't really sure what I would have said right off the bat in terms of what I find hard or challenging, but I think that really, yeah, that's it. I think what I find challenging is sometimes you don't know what emotions you're soliciting in people as a teacher, and you have no way of knowing. Like, you can have an agenda and think like, well, I think this will make people feel a certain way, but it's like, I think that's one of the things that's kind of the hardest things, and one of the most amazing things about music is that you have no idea what people's experiences of the same piece of music, or doing the same thing, learning the same phrase. I remember I was giving this singing workshop in Sherbrooke, right around the corner from me, and I did this like easy little warm-up thing just to get people comfortable with their voices, and it was a special context where it was with people who either had terminal cancer or were supporting people that were at that phase of their life. So it was a really kind of, people were going through tough moments, and I just did a really simple vocalization, just like and I was like accompanying it with the accordion just to let people kind of resonate. And I noticed this one woman was crying and crying and crying. I'm going, wow, this is great. Just this is exactly where I was going with this idea of just opening up, letting people vibrate with their body, and just this simple vocalization is tapping into some kind of emotion for this person. And she came to talk to me afterwards, and she said what got her emotional was that the three notes that I chose sounded like a Whitney Houston song that she used to listen to with her, with her ex-husband, and that was triggering all these memories, and like the last thing on my mind where I was going musically. And it's just like, yeah, you just don't have any idea really sometimes so that's a really challenging thing. And the fact that it can, like Laura says, music just has this direct channel to your emotions, and that it's kind of a powerful thing that you're not, it's like playing with some toy that like can be fun but might light the house on fire, you don't really exactly. So that's a challenge, and a challenge, yeah, I think as a teacher to try to remember that like you can be bringing these people to some pretty intense places.
I think I was just thinking about the comparison between teaching vocals and teaching instruments in general. And one of the big challenges I find for teaching instruments, particularly to adults, is there are some movements that we need to play a particular instrument well that is not inherent to anything that some people have ever done before, and that it's an impediment to being able to get to that step of, okay, here's the emotion of the music. And with vocals, it seems like you don't have quite as much of that inherently.
It's more direct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Fingers aren't in the way.
It's more of an immediate,
Yeah,
here, you're really here, right?
yeah.
With your emotion.
Which is why it's scary for a lot
Right.
of people. Yeah. Do you want to add anything to this, or I could put some other bait on the hook here?
Oh, put some other bait. Bait away.
Bait away. Can we go back to the topic of groove, because you're a rhythm player,
Yeah.
well known, and maybe the challenges the hard piece of teaching when you sense, or it's quite demonstrated to you, that there's somebody that has got something blocking their access to really feeling the groove.
Oh yeah. Well, like I mean, all of these things are opportunities that are exciting to me, and that's why we're doing this. That's why we get together and learn and experience. I think this is reminding me actually of one of the workshops that I did. That was a collaborative workshop with Neil Pearlman over Labor Day when we were at camp, and we spent some time in our workshop talking about our different approaches, as particularly because he's a piano player and I'm a guitar player, and talking about how we approach different genres of things. And then we spent a little time talking more spontaneously about what it is when we connect with something. And for me, that was very fun. And talks about a little bit of that vulnerability, because we did a little exercise where he played some tune on the accordion that I had never heard before, which is really enjoyable. And I tried to narrate my experience of that. And a couple people might remember. It was pretty fun for me. But it's intimate to narrate what your experience is when you're like trying to hold on to something new that you were going to make some mistakes about, and try to be really open. So it's like, oh yeah, Neil, like, okay, that's good. Now I don't know that tune, but there's that moment. I missed that moment this time around, but next time around I'm going to get it. Nope, I didn't get it that time around either, because I was thinking too much about whether I'm going to get it, and building up until it's like, yes, and it's all of that is a practice of being present and engaged and listening. And listening has been my pandemic project. It's just like listening to things, and I feel like that's the kind of thing when I think about groove, it's about that kind of connection and allowing that, like getting all those things out of the way so that you can find that intimate connection with the music that is being made. So
That's great. Awesome. I was just remembering, Nick, I think you and I did at online camp last year, we did another version of that, of like playing a tune the other guy hadn't heard, and
Yeah.
sort of bring into the light what our analysis of it.
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty enduring sort of concept, perhaps, for collaborative workshops, when we've run out of other things to explore. So thanks for bringing that up.
Oh man, it's an underexplored. I mean, even if it's enduring, I feel like it's so revealing to watch somebody talk about their direct experience of that.
Especially when you know the people, like, it'd be great to do that with band members, like, oh, really? That's what you're thinking?
Well, that's happened in some of our lives. Really?
Yeah. It's the experience is so personal for different people, and so what you're describing, sometimes I wonder how different that is from person to person. Like, are other people describing the same? Is what you're describing kind of what's going through other people's heads?
Right. Yeah. Oh man, and this is only one type of groove. I feel like there's all other kinds of groove
Hit or miss, yeah.
thoughts we could talk about.
Right, so much, yeah. I didn't know you hated that chord. You never told me.
You never told me. You didn't notice me wincing?
I've been playing it for years. Well, I hate to cut this short here because we've got some more music to listen to from Laura and Nick, and yeah, it's just the great stuff that we could go on. Just a very quick round on your pandemic project, and I think that deserves its own fourth period at camp this year because I've heard some doozies, really.
Yeah.
Everybody's got one. So yours was listening. Mine was listening. as
Listening,
well.
yeah.
Well, it was one of mine, but yeah. Laura, did you have a pandemic project?
Yeah.
Or just pick one?
I'm working on a project on a new album with
Good one.
with Nick and with Rachel Aucoin. And I don't know if that was my pandemic project, but maybe the pandemic. It's something that's been on my mind long before the pandemic, but somehow I made it happen, starting to happen during the pandemic. So there you
Awesome.
go.
Great. Mr. Williams, did you have a particular pandemic project that's you want to share with the class here?
Participating in Laura's CD. Let's see.
Oh wait, I'm gonna add two more. I built this patio and I ripped out a balcony and built a new one. There you go. That's my other project.
That's pretty awesome.
Impressive.
Yeah, it's impressive.
Okay, I'm going to show you this is my first pandemic project was building this like little playhouse in the back. Can you guys see that?
Yeah.
Little house in the backyard. That was my pandemic project with my daughter Zoe. Got her hammering things.
Great.
Right,
Great
now,
stuff.
patio with my kids too.
Yeah. I think that's at least for a lot of parents out there, especially parents who are musicians and might have spent time away from their kids at certain points in their lives. That's I think that was a big pandemic project, was just like being there a whole lot with the kids. So that was
Here.
Yeah, cooking, a lot of cooking with the kids.
yeah.
All right, should we do these?
Yeah.
You ready for some more tunes?
We are ready.
Okay, we're gonna give you two retreat marches, and these are both tunes I learned from Angus Grant, Senior, great Highland fiddle player, West Highland fiddle player from Scotland, and the first tune is pretty special because for me, because he wrote it for me, which doesn't happen every day. That Angus writes you a tune. It's called the Montreal March, and then the second tune is McGregor of Rural. I worked with Barbara McGowan in Boston, fiddle player in Boston, and Peggy Dusenberry and Angus on a book of his tunes, and so one of the things I learned in that was that I love retreat marches. Maybe we'll do some at camp in June. Yeah?
Yeah.
Should we do one more, or are we good?
One more?
One more? All right.
One more would be great.
Sure, take us out.
Take us out. Almost.
Almost.
Yeah.
I'm gonna-
This is
There we
a waltz of mine called Le Pied de Vin. I'm trying to remember if I've played it at camp before, maybe, but it's a waltz. The Pied de Vin translates as the foot of the wind, and it's the word in French for when you see like sunbeams that come down through clouds. So, foot of the wind. It's also a very nice and tasty cheese from Les Îles de la Madeleine, the Magdalen Islands.
Very good cheese.
Very good cheese. So you can choose which image to kind of like have in your minds as we play this. You can, or maybe both. You can imagine, think of the light streaming down and the smell of a nice, pungent, salty cheese.
I thought you were
If
gonna
want
say
the full experience.
the light streaming down on the cheese as though it was like
Oh my
you know,
God!
like the skies have opened up and God is just looking down and pointing to the cheese.
I think that could be the album cover
Album
art,
cover.
Laura.
That's the album cover.
Wow, what a beautiful, beautiful way to take us out of the musical portion of this wonderful afternoon with Laura Risk and Nicholas Williams, who will both be on staff with us this June at Northeast Heritage Music Camp. You can join us if you had fun with all these folks, Max Newman, Oliver Scanlon, Laura and Nick. That's just half the faculty, and we would love to have you with us in June for camp. So northeastheritagemusiccamp.com. Thanks also to Rose Jackson for manning the all important tech behind the scenes here, and to our wonderful hostess Chris Nippenberg for catering this afternoon. The board works very hard all around the all around the clock, all around the year to put together this wonderful camp. So whether you've been with us in the past, regularly, irregularly, or are just kind of encountering this magical bunch of folks here, love to have you with us. And I'm really excited to be coming along too. I think we need to roll the credits here.
We do need to roll the credits. Just before we do that, if you'd like to hang out with us on Zoom for a couple minutes afterwards, feel free to do that. One more plug: if you haven't made a donation, definitely please do that. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
And
thanks for everybody that has.
Thank you very much.
As well. It's been a lot of fun.
Thanks for allowing us to support our musicians and make something like this happen.
Yeah. Great.
Thank you guys, man. It's all the work you guys do to keep this going is so precious. So.
Yeah, thank you
Great.
very much.
We feel the same. So that's another wrap on Radio NaHuMCa. We're glad you joined us, and the next time we'll see you, hopefully, we'll be at camp in just a few months. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thanks all.